I'm Luke Summerhays, and I love Snivy. Snivy is unusual for being the grass starter, but not the first Pokemon from its generation in Pokédex order. In both the Unova Pokédex and the National Pokédex, it is preceded by Victini. Otherwise though, this is a starter through and through. A 3-stage evolution family, grass type, based on an animal which evolved after last generation's turtle, but before the 6th generation's hedgehog. According to Reiko Tanui, who designed Snivy, the Pokemon was inspired by the fact that snakes look a bit like vines. This is as good a reason as any to select a grass-type starter, I suppose. It was revealed to the public, along with other starters of the 5th generation, first as a silhouette, then with a Japanese name, and finally with its English name. The long wait for an official moniker led to various speculative names and nicknames, including the enduring Smugleaf. Snivy is a snake-like animal with small, stubby arms and legs. It has a leaf-like tail and decorative floral designs, and tends to stand with its snout upturned in a condescending manner. Many of its Pokédex entries discuss its intelligence, as well as its deftness with vines, appropriate as the Pokemon was at least partially created to resemble a vine. Pokemon Black tells us, "It is very intelligent and calm. Being exposed to lots of sunlight makes its movements swifter." Pokemon White tells us, "They photosynthesize by bathing their tails in sunlight. When they are not feeling well, their tails droop." And Black 2 and White 2 tell us, "Being exposed to sunlight makes its movements swifter. It uses vines more adeptly than its hands." The name Snivy combines snake and ivy, though it also brings to mind the word snide, appropriate for its smug vibes. The Japanese name is Tsutaja, combining a specific Japanese species of creeping vine with an old word for snake. Snivy is, despite or perhaps because of its attitude, a cute little monster. As it evolves, it becomes more and more snake-like, starting at level 17 when it becomes Servine. Servine has an elegant shape, bringing to mind Dragonair, though still with something of a confidence, if not a smugness. Pokemon Black 2 and White 2 tell us, "When it gets dirty, its leaves can't be used in photosynthesis, so it always keeps itself clean." It still has 4 limbs, though compared to its large body they haven't grown in scale, exaggerating the snake-like aspect. Pokemon Black tells us, "It moves along the ground as if sliding. Its swift movements befuddle its foes, and it then attacks with a vine whip." Pokemon White tells us, "They avoid attacks by sinking into the shadows of thick foliage. They retaliate with masterful whipping techniques." The English name takes an alternative word for snakes, serpent, and combines it with vine. The Japanese name, Janovi, again uses a Japanese word for snake, this time combined with ivy, or possibly canopy, referring to the top layer of a forest, where the sunlight is collected. Like with all middle evolutions, our time with Servine is short. At level 36, it completes its transformation and becomes Serperior. Serperior's legs are completely gone, and at first glance so are its arms, making it appear entirely snake-like. On closer inspection, it does in fact still have arms, albeit folded behind its back, and this, combined with that classic expression, creates a look of superiority. Pokemon Black tells us, "It can stop its opponent's movements with just a glare. It takes in solar energy and boosts it internally." Pokemon White tells us, "They raise their heads to intimidate opponents, but only give it their all when fighting a powerful opponent." And Pokemon Black 2 and White 2 tell us, "It only gives its all against strong opponents, who are not fazed by the glare from Serperior's noble eyes." On top of this, Serperior has a regal design, with a collar like a European fine coat, and with floral patterns very much like those of royal insignia. Serperior's design is supposed to evoke European royalty, and this marks an interesting first for the Pokemon franchise. The 3 starters of the 5th generation have a collective theme, representing the Chinese, European, and Japanese courts. As well as creating cool designs, this is supposed to evoke the multicultural element of New York. The name, Serperior, combines serpent with superior. Similarly, the Japanese name, Jalorda, suggests this is a lord of snakes. Serperior did eventually prove itself a superior lord, but it didn't happen immediately. At first, Serperior has the fairly ordinary ability Overgrow, which boosts grass moves in specific situations. Its hidden ability, however, is the very powerful Contrary. While gamers knew this possibility existed, an actual Contrary Serperior wasn't officially available for players until after the 5th generation was finished. With this ability, Serperior receives the opposite effect from all stat-changing moves. If opponents try to lower its stats, or even if it uses a powerful attack with a stat-reducing cost, it will instead gain in those stats. Combined with already decent speed and attacks, Serperior was eventually a force to be reckoned with. Hello and welcome to Moils on Mon. Jay, Snivy.
Yes. Snivy. Green snooty snake would be the first 3 words that come to mind for that guy.
Yeah, that's pretty much the gist.
I mean, I think initially he's not as snooty, but he definitely becomes very snooty.
I think Snivy's pretty snoopy. Takes a little break during Servine, and then
awkward middle stage,
yeah,
right? Like everybody.
Very snooty at the end there.
Yeah, see, if I remember rightly, he even gets like a crown and stuff when he becomes Serperior.
Not quite a crown, but he's got like a big, big collar and stuff. Yeah, big Dracula collar.
But snooty grass guy. I like it because I think we often, and I know he does have feet in Snivy form, but we often have like all the starters are bipedal, right, or on 4 legs. So having like a slithery boy for Serperior, I'm a fan.
Well, yeah, right after this generation, I think they start getting very human with their starters. So I'm glad to see some beasts here in Gen 5.
Sneaky boy. I think...
Fun fact, technically Serperior does have arms.
Ah, but no legs.
They're like folded behind its back.
I see, kind of like a... What were they called? Lamias? Like from mythology? Or like D&D?
I have no idea.
Anyway, maybe you'll find out on your research. Who knows? But yeah, I'm a fan of this series. I didn't use it in my playthrough, but I fought against it because I was a water boy.
Oh, interesting. Because you jumped on this one pretty quick. Did Andy jump on Oshawott before you?
Andy got Oshawott before I got and I wanted to have a starter at least, you know. And my arbitrary counterpick war that I created in my head.
Yes. Friend of the show Mikey from Pokemon Crossroads got in touch about Victini, which also gives me a good opportunity to point out that while talking about the fact that Victini is based on an apple rabbit, I never even mentioned that, you know, the Big Apple, New York. Anyway, Mikey has this to say. So, we are in Generation 5, my favourite region and generation. I have many fond memories for many reasons, from in real life to online. Victini. I will share my favourite memory regarding this Pokemon. To get Victini, you needed to download the event from Wi-Fi. At the time, the only way my DS could connect to online was using the Nintendo Online USB adapter that would connect to your Pokemon. Though, prior to Gen 5, the adapter had stopped working. At this time, my little brother was 10, and I was at the end of my college years, or maybe just graduated. Either way, we both loved Pokemon and wanted to get Victini. We had no idea how to get Victini, but what I did know is that my DS could connect to the Wi-Fi of a tea place in downtown. So I drove us 30 minutes into the city, sat down in the tea place and connected our DS so we could download the Victini event. Then, together, we enjoyed some tea drinks and played through the Victini event. It was one of the first shared Pokemon memories we had, and because of this, Victini holds a special part in my heart. Oh, that's really cute. I remember trying to get various event Pokemon with my brother, like Darkrai. Ken Sugimori, the longtime lead artist of Pokemon, has said that Serperior's design is not only based on European royalty generally, but specifically on the manga Rose of Versailles. As well as having cool class war themes and showing the French Revolution, this series also has beautiful art, with many ornately dressed characters with flowing hair, riding their horses past beautiful sunsets. Fittingly, Serperior is also an elegant and beautiful design. I don't have much time for real-life monarchs, but this snake can be as smug as it likes. Music for Luke Loves Pokemon is composed by Jonathan Cromie. Artwork for the show is by Katie Groves. Writing, producing, and editing is by me, Luke Summerhays, while funding is provided by lovely listeners at patreon.com/podcastio-podcastius. Our next Pokemon will be Tepig and Oshawott, so if you have thoughts about those or any other monsters, hit me up with a DM or an email to lukelovespkmn@gmail.com. If you like this podcast, please rate and review wherever you're listening or tell a friend. If you want to hear more Pokemon chatter from me, come by twitch.tv/lukelovespkmn Saturday nights from 9 PM UK time. And even if you don't feel like doing any of that, thank you so much just for listening. I love Snivy, and remember, I love you too.